Welcome for this video on May 16, 2022 full moon, which will be also a lunar eclipse. Full lunar eclipse. It is, yes, May 16, but for some people in Western United States or Canada or, well, America, it could be also May 15th because, for example, here in Quebec, Eastern time, it will be at midnight and 14 minutes. So of course, if the time zone is different, it could be, but before. Basically, what we have to keep in mind is that it will happen in the night between May 15th and May 16th. Why am I so focused on timing for this one specifically? Because this full moon will also be the full moon of Vesak. You might have heard about this celebration of the Vesak. It's a wonderful celebration. I'll give you a few details about it, and then we'll go more into the astrological aspects of this full moon, very special full moon. So the Vesak basically is a celebration where in the Himalayas on Mount Kailash, there is, let's say, a divinity. Some will call it Shiva, some will call it Buddha, some will call it Christ, some will call it a mix of all this together, and some will call it differently again. There's many names for the divine energies that are present on Mount Kailash, and basically it's pouring blessings on earth that will fertilize earth for an entire year. And we're talking about spiritual energy, spiritual blessings. So basically it's giving life, revitalizing earth for a full year. So it's a very important celebration, most known on the oriental part of our planet, but more and more people are now aware of this celebration, and we're more and more numerous to celebrate it, to at least cultivate some attitude of respect toward this pouring of blessings on earth that we receive in our heart. So this is happening on Mount Kailash in the Himalayas, so some very high in vibration wise, it's very high level of energy. So it's something really important, and it's very known. Some of you probably know that I worked in an NGO at the UN for a while, and we received every year from the UN some celebration email regarding the celebration of the Vesak. So I'm just telling you this because some people might think, oh, it's a bit weird, it's something that not that many people know about, it's too spiritual, too hocus pocus, I don't know what. For some people it's not tangible enough, but I'm saying this so that you have an idea that many people celebrate this. If they talk about it at the UN on a regular basis, it means it's important. It means it's important for the world. I'm not saying that the UN is a reference at all, but if it's there, something that's spiritual, if it's there, it's because many, many people think about it, celebrate it. And some people will actually go in a pilgrimage on Mount Kailash, actually walking there. And some people will try to go there in their dreams, through their thoughts, just trying to go there anyhow we can. For some people, it's just the attitude we have, and we're just a deep respect for that moment where all the blessings are pouring on earth. And it's wonderful to see this, well, to see it, to feel it, to see it for the ones that can see it, but basically to realize that, yes, you know, heaven or the divine planes are actually really taking care of us. And year after year, at this full moon where the sun is in Taurus and the moon in Scorpio, that energy is pouring on us. Now, there's something special. As I mentioned earlier, it's a lunar total eclipse that same day. That means, basically, astrologically speaking, when you look at the chart, it actually means that the opposition of sun and moon, which creates all full moon, is actually exactly or really close to the lunar nodes opposition. So you see that the sun is in conjunction with the north node, the moon is in conjunction with the south node, and that creates basically, when you have those two together, you have a total lunar eclipse. And that total lunar eclipse, basically, and full moon, because it's always a full moon when it's a lunar eclipse, well, that energy makes two square with Saturn in Aquarius. And if you look a little bit more and you broaden the aspects, you see also sextiles. So it's creating a sextile with the conjunction, well, that would be Sun and North Node, creating a sextile with the conjunction of Neptune and Mars in Pisces. And on the other end, Moon and South Node are creating a sextile with Pluto and Capricorn. So you have those sextiles and those squares, and it creates almost like a mountain shape, just like Mount Kailash. We don't have that shape very often, not with such huge aspects, because these are very precise, making them very strong, and they are actually using really strong planets, like, a total lunar eclipse, meaning opposition of Sun and Moon and opposition of the lunar nodes. So those points, Mars and Neptune in conjunction, Saturn and Pluto. So you see, this mountain shape is very important, and we can see in Saturn that is making those squares, we can see there the top of the mountain, the top of Mount Kailash, and seeing through Saturn, this time in Aquarius, specifically since we're entering the age of Aquarius now, seeing those divinities on top of Mount Kailash that are pouring those blessings on Earth from Saturn in Aquarius. See, Saturn has this righteousness, this wisdom. It's actually pouring on us all the blessings from the heaven for a full year, fertilizing Earth, fertilizing human beings on a spiritual level. And this is wonderful to see it even astrological. And if we want to go further, well, let's have a look at Mars and Neptune in conjunction, because that conjunction is very important this time. Why? Because you heard it on April 30th. We had the big conjunction Jupiter, Neptune, and Venus in Pisces, and that created a huge amount of spiritual energy there. And I'm saying spiritual energy because that's what it is, really. Sometimes I name things differently, but this time, in Pisces, Neptune, Jupiter, Venus, it's so beneficial, it's so high level energy. It created a huge gift. And Mars following Venus, basically, Mars always follows Venus. So he's just entering this conjunction Neptune and seeing the gifts. And he sees that at that exact moment where there's this full moon, total lunar eclipse, Vesak celebration. This is just huge. So basically Mars, our will, let's translate Mars as being the will of humanity, is being transformed. And we always ask for the Vesak celebration, since it's, this fertile energy being poured on us on Earth from high above. We always ask to be very, very peaceful, not to bear any conflict, not to have any intent, of war. What a big topic right now. Not to have any of that within, so that we're very, very peaceful. And all this is happening at this moment where Mars is putting in front of us all. He's the one going in with Neptune, and Neptune represents this higher plane where our consciousness really tries to go touch a higher plane, like ultimately the divine plane. But of course there's levels, and we won't reach there easily if we didn't work so much before. But basically Mars is really there. He's sent to do this. So he has to be really peaceful. So all war has to stop, basically, for this celebration. If externally, in the news, of course, Russia, Ukraine, you all know what's happening there. But I don't know what will happen at those in around those dates. But even if, war keeps going on, and even like, because if we live those energies in a bad way, of course it could actually generate war more. So let's not focus on this. But even if externally and in the news and all this, this peace is not there, we have to live it within. And this is important, because if some of us in humanity really do live this peace within, it changes the whole game for the entire planet. It's not what's on the news that's important, it's what we live within, because every single person counts. So if we are able to really lay down our weapons and just like surrender to the weapons world, and also armor worlds, like defense world as well, and just be our own magnetism from our heart, like ourselves, really, without, because that metal, those weapons and all those things, and the phones and the stuff, and the Wi-Fi and stuff, it's all things that are actually changing our own magnetism. And when we are to receive those blessings from high above at the Vesak celebration, it's asked not to have any of that on oneself. Why? Because we have to be ourselves. We have to show our heart first, not our intent to be efficient, not our intent to defend ourselves, or to change something, or to move something, because heaven is giving. It's pouring on us. We have to receive. And basically we can receive in our hands, in our heart, in any type of inner container we have, we can receive those blessings. But if we have those phones, those things, those action stuff on us, it's changing the magnetism of our own being, and we won't receive it that well. And it's talking, of course, about our inner attitude. Our inner attitude is the same. We're not there to change things, to you see, we're there to receive. And if we're receptive at that moment, then those blessings, those fertile blessings, really transform us totally. And then our Mars, our will, the will of the humanity, will change. How do you want to go through this war in Russia and Ukraine? Of course, there's strategic planning for war and all this. And people, think, oh, they should do this, they should do that, and all this. But if you think about it really, what really needs to happen is to change this will inside humanity, to allow it to evolve. How will this evolve? Through hardship, suffering, and all this. For sure, that works, but it's a long journey. Another way also to evolve is to open to those divine energies and receive them. And of course, we're talking about divine energies, and there's war right next to it. People would say, whoa, well, those divine energies won't do nothing for war. This is life-threatening, happening. It's serious, it's material, it's dense, it's physical. We have to answer on the physical level and all this. Well, yeah, some people will probably do that. But on the Vesak celebration, it is asked not to do this. It is asked to receive those fertile energies. Think about all those that that to change things they didn't eat for a long time, right? I don't know the name in English of this, but like Gandhi did this, for example, for a cause, and they did it in a very peaceful way. And this peaceful way is also very strong. I'm not asking for us to, not to defend ourselves and all this. This is not the idea. But the attitude, the inner attitude is, well, I want to change this will inside myself. And it's the same for everybody. If someone thinks, oh, I'm doing no harm, I'm not doing nothing wrong, I'm not using weapons, nothing of this kind, well, very often it's because we're not placed in a situation where we would actually do it. People that are doing war do it. Why? Because they are placed in such position that it triggers that, yes, they want to do it. This is humanity. It's human nature. That's why there's wars since so long. That's why it never really totally changed yet. Even if, now it looks like old. That kind of war with the tanks and everything. It looks old. Like it looks, past date. It looks really old. Expired. It looks expired to see this happen. We see this and we're like, really? This still happens? Why? Because it's in human nature. And anyone, and this is true for everybody, even if we think, oh, I'm a good person, even myself, like everyone, really. I say even myself because I'm talking, but I'm not saying I'm that wonderful. It's just that, yeah, everybody, if we're placed in a situation where, we would be really tempted because of the situation, what's happening, to use those weapons and all this, most probably we would do it. That's why in humanity it's happening. So yeah, some people have good ethics. Some people really can be stronger than this push that is just in the subconsciousness of humanity. And that's why when Mars is visiting Neptune like this, in such an amazing moment, full moon, total lunar eclipse, Vesak celebration, put all this together, those wonderful aspects I described, the sextiles, the square with Saturn, all this, it's a time to change the will of humanity, to allow those blessings to reach Mars. Because how can we reach Mars if he has armors and weapons and all this on him? It's impossible. How can heaven touch us if we keep bearing and protecting and being always defending and all this? It's impossible because it's not reachable. There's some kind of a shell around it, and Mars cannot be changed. If you want to change humanity's will, well, we have to open up that shell a little bit. We have to lay down the weapons and the armors and receive it. Be transformed. And after, we'll see what will happen. After, it's going to be a different life. So that's the main message for this Vesak celebration, full moon, total lunar eclipse of May 15th and 16th, 2022. Hope you like it, and see you next time for another astrology video. It will be the following new moon. So see you soon. Thank you so much.